he's offering, it's crazy. We need cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need at least a cot right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, there's several different ways to go. I mean, if you went with the Furno, you're gonna be limited on what you can buy. You can buy a couple of these and one of the loading system. We don't really need a loading system, but they would be a nice luxury, and we're gonna have thousands of dollars in.
Here's the thing that
When in 2016, you go to the G rollovers and all that stuff, we're gonna have to replace all of our hardware.
Is the Furno, is it 23G rated?
Yes.
Yes. Or will be in a few months.
It will be in 3 months.
And that one is now with the loading system.
The cot is, but the hardware, the mounting brackets will have to
Or
change.
not, right?
Basically, but they were telling us that by the time we would be ordering and get them in, it would be, the hardware.
The guy
But
told
this
Brian
mounting
3 months.
part, the striker mounting
yes.
system is already designed to.
You know, it seems to me, I mean, just when you look at the numbers, in the Furno system, it has the built-in loading system that Stryker has. Brian, you felt the weight difference, right? That Furno system, the way that the weight is distributed, it's as if you were hooking it into that loading system that Stryker has. That seems to me to be the difference. You know, if you just bought the power cot from Stryker, then you're totally losing out on the effortlessness of getting them in and out of the squat. But of course, you know, so either way, if you're going to go that far to provide that level of ease for the paramedic, you're going to have to go with the track system that Stryker has. Otherwise, yeah.
But running a two-man unit, you still, the biggest issue is raising them from the ground level up. And either cot would do that. And then 2 people at the foot end or whatever. The one is, as you said, effortless. But that's not uncommon, and that's not too awful bad if you've got a couple of people there. But just, you can only spend what you can afford. I mean, that's,
You can push them in easier than you can lift the wheels up or lift the end of it up.
What are the comments you got, Cos? What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts.
okay.
Both systems are good. I don't know that, are we that concerned about whether the costs are recertifiable? Because if that's the case, there are thousands of Stryker cots out there. So is that something, you know, is everybody worried about the fact that after 7 years they can't be certified?
I'm not worried about it until something happens, and we're dealing with a non-certified cot. We know that those cots that we're using today, even though they're older than maybe 7 years old, we know that they're still good cots. We know that they're still fully operational.
Right.
But if something happens on a scene with a patient, and we've put them on a non-certified cot, the lawyer that you see on television, you know, that's asking for your business, is going to notice that and exploit that in the court case. So that's where the certifiability matters. It's a CYA thing.
I will say that the Strikers seem to be easier to use though, just looking at it. Not push the button until it stops, but push it again and come back this far and hit the minus button. When it stops, go a little further and hit it again. Maybe
Well, I think
up and
it's
down.
heavier too.
up, down.
The ideal
I
thing,
think it's
especially when
heavier
you're
than
running
that.
2-man medics, good day, maybe 3 people. It's just a shame there isn't something that can physically pick that patient up. You could slide under and pick them up off the floor and get them into a stair chair or on the cot, because that's the backbreaker there. And especially when they're laying between the bed and the dresser in the bed, and that's where.
It's a Hoyer lift.
Yes, exactly. That's the part
That's where we get more
Killing us.
injuries than actually putting them in the truck. A lot of times it's getting them out of the spot they're in their house. Because we've had, like Chief said, I don't know how many times we've had a 200 or 300 pound person between a wall, a dresser, and a bed. And they're, I mean, literally fell out of bed, they're in between there, and there's 3 of us. So the first thing we do is make sure they're not injured, and then we have to wait until we get more personnel. And then a lot of times we have moved beds, rolled them up, stuck one of our, what we call tubby tarps, one of our big tarps, under them, rolled them back, lifted them up and got them on a bed, or sometimes they're not injured, they just need to go back to bed.
Yeah.
But do you know, trying to lift 300 pounds like that, even if there's 6 of you, I mean, just trying to move them up.
Yeah.
So, then the one lady we had that cardiac arrested was 700 pounds up on Watson Road. And we had to carry her from the apartment all the way down the sidewalk, remove the cot out of the truck, and had to manually, it took 10 of us, guys from Newark and us, we had to take her all the way down that sidewalk, which was like from here to the parking lot, and set her in the back of the truck. That's where you get the injuries, but somebody like that, you're not gonna go put on top.
Yeah.
That way.
And I've heard you say before, there's gotta be a limit, but we don't deal with that kind of reality or whatever. We gotta deal with it however. I mean, it's just, that's a fact of life sometimes, and you do the best you can with what you got. But we are dealing with that. And sometimes, anyway, moving right along. When we're done here, I'll go through this stuff pretty quick. I would ask that you'd stick around just long enough. Bob's here tonight and all that, and we'll talk about 7 a little bit and the rescue while you're here. So anyway, July statistics. We're up 5 fire runs compared to this time last year. A total of 60 fire runs from this time last year. EMS calls, down 19 total, up 1 for the month, but down 19. We're down 3 transports versus this time last year, and down a total of 4. Doug bounced me on the numbers being off. Oh, there he is. Couldn't see ya. And I did make an error. The Newark transports were 25. You can adjust that on your sheet.
So is that 44 total then? Because that still doesn't.
No, I know, it's still, we're off 2, but there was a couple departments that I didn't include in there that we were maybe there just one time.
What am I changing, chief?
I'm sorry?
What am I changing?
Newark.
You're just changing Newark's was 25.
The fire.
That puts us, there was a difference of 11, and I've got those stats here that, whatever, but it's only off 2 now.
Man, that's a lot of fire runs in Newark. That's a lot of fire runs.
Every time they get a working fire, we get a call, automatically.
They're not sandbagging and keeping their personnel on for squad duty, are
That I
they?
don't know, Mayor.
How do we track that?
We can't. It's their personnel. We don't know.
I mean, the only way we could do it would be look at the CAD board, and I've heard that
You'd have to
sometimes,
pull the run cards on each of those to see who they're pulling out of Newark.
and we don't, other than looking at the CAD itself, we don't have,
Yeah.
We don't know.
our
what's included.
statistics
Yeah,
would
so-
not
yeah.
But
show
they've
what
done it
equipment.
before. They have sent us all the way downtown and left engine 3 medic 3 set.
Uh-huh.
They've done it because the guys have complained about, oh, we had a fire, we didn't get to go. That's mainly on one unit because that was Assistant Chief Decker's brainchild.
Uh-huh.
He come up with that deal
Uh-huh.
and went to stick right with it. So that's the reason that happens a lot. 2 and 3 unit, I don't know, but.
And
it
that
does
goes
happen
back to
there.
the bragging about the
Yeah.
doing it with less.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, doing it with less, but
We're doing it.
So
Translation, every
it's
damn
remarkable
one call,
sometimes what we
mutual aid
really do
calls,
with
otherwise
five
third.
people.
Yeah.
Every damn one of them.
We took
is
4
mutual
runs,
aid.
one right after another today.
Whose choice is it
We
to
had
go
people
to
killing
Big E
everybody.
visitors?
There's some serious
They call
calls.
911.
So
It's-
They
anyway,
put a tone on that they're.
When Newark gets dispatched, they will, based on the nature of the call, there's automatically equipment in the cab that goes with that. So if it's a working fire for Newark, they will dispatch all their equipment, then they will add if they want an extra ladder, if they want an extra engine, if they want a medic, and they'll go with whatever department is in close proximity. So if this runs on West Main Street and it's a working fire and they dispatch their equipment, we're the closest, so they wouldn't call Madison, unless
They'll
it's
send our
east
ladder.
of town, they'd send our ladder or our engine.
Now, who is they? I mean, is it?
Dispatch.
The dispatch, they would
Dispatch.
dispatch 911, they would automatically dispatch that, and then we give them whatever we can. Now, a lot of times,
County fire
County
dispatch.
fire.
right,
Yeah.
Right,
County
it's
fire
in the
dispatches for everybody.
so they will dispatch that, like today, they had the building explosion, Chief and I were just getting back from international Columbus, and they asked for both of our engines to go down there. Well, we only had 5 people. The dentist office there on West Main Street,
Oh, the York family.
Sherwood Williams and
right, the building right behind Sherwin-Williams.
Sherwood Williams there
It's a little
on Main
dentist office.
Street.
Somebody hit a gas meter and it broke the line off, and the doctor smelled gas, and he just got everybody out, and it exploded. And it took the whole back
It
corner of
blew
the building
part
off.
of the, about 15 foot of the roof
Of
and
the
the whole,
roof, and the
that
whole
corner of the
back
building.
wall,
was-
everything.
I don't have
It would
to
kill
go
everybody in
down
there.
West and do it.
So the doc was smart enough, he got him out right after
Okay,
that.
moving along.
So,
So mutual aid's given 46, mutual aid's received 26. There, give or take a couple. Legislative requests none. Monthly expenses 64, 550, 87. Previous year 64, 150. You can see the overtime. What, about $1,100 less than this time last year, but we're up 52,000 over this time last year. But last year was a better year, and we had several people off in the early part of the year, and was covering a shift that wasn't available. So I think as the year goes on, that number, although it will increase, it will even out a little bit better with last year. Under equipment, Bob could talk about this too. We have Medic 9 in over at Rush right now, and it's got several issues going on.
Didn't I see it out front?
no, that's
Okay.
Medicaid.
Oh.
That's our
No,
reserve.
out front of the
That's
building.
the reserve.
Oh, okay.
That's the old one, that's the reserve.
I asked for 15,000 extra because of equipment. Right after that, we had $4,000 to repair. Which medic was it?
Medic 1 or Medicaid,
Medic 8, which is the newest medic.
that's
We
no
put
7.
4 tires on
6
the
tires.
old
6 tires.
6 tires on. Okay,
Mhm.
the medic unit to the tune of about $1,800. I don't know what this medic is going to cost to repair.
Chief, did you ask for 15 or 25?
Yeah.
That's 25.
25.
25. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, could I have a little more? Yeah, because I was good. Initially it was 30 and I dropped it to 25. But anyway, we've got ladder testing and there's just a lot of things that are it's just unfortunately it's a bad year. There's no explanation for it. We're not creating this stuff. It's not abuse, but we're just having a lot of problems with, especially the international medic units. And one's a 2005 and one's a 2007. I still don't know how many miles are on the damn thing. I just don't.
Medic 2, which is Medic 9, has 76,000, about 76,000 on it. Medic 1 has considerably less.
So, we're trying to keep those repaired. Truck 7, we're going to take a look at that tonight, and we've got a state bid about 42, I think, with the snow blade and such. Chrysler, if the direction we'd like to go with, if you guys agree to that or whatever. It's in good shape. It's got several years on it, but there's a lot of things, and Bob can point that stuff out a little later, that we can justify, and it's not like we're totally getting away from it, because John Groff has indicated he could use that along with that snow blade at City Hall, and so it isn't like we're wasting it. It's going to just carry on in a different portion of the city. So, I mean, that's one option to take a look at or whatever. And I know we'll wait till later in the year before we do anything about that and just see what happens. But I'm still going to keep giving you some presentations. I'd have had a list of stuff, the reasons why today, and I started on it, but we were too busy today to. So anyway, Tires replaced. We mentioned the medic before winter. What, we've got tires that we need to put on engine 2.
The rear.
And we're gonna,
The rear
I
tires.
keep telling you, dragging our feet as much as we can, but the medic, reserve medic 3, those tires were how old?
They were over 15. They were from
Yeah.
our old Medic 8, which was a 1997. So, and they were the original tires on that truck. So they've been there for a while.
And we're running that
17, 18
squad out as a first out unit, so it was just important that we
It
replace
is
those
now,
tires.
yeah.
How often do you replace your rubber on your truck?
Oh, gosh.
Just when they're worn out, or do you have an
Just when they're
age?
worn out. Just when they're worn out. I think we probably get 3 years out of some trucks. Some trucks we don't drive as much. We might get twice that.
Wastewater, guys just lift them by the axles and run down the road. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that saves the tires.
Our big back truck, I think that's a 2001, and I believe it's never had tires yet.
Ooh.
But it's only got like 6,000 miles on it.
Well, that's what we
But
found.
you know what Michelin said? Michelin said, and actually I confirmed this with 3 other tire companies, the max life, regardless of mileage or appearance or what they look like, the max life is 10 years. Mhm.
The weight of the vehicle.
Because of the way
Vehicle and
the
sidewalls.
tire effectively has reached its end life at 10 years regardless of the look, because that's what we ran into. I mean, there are departments that have tires that are 25 years old. Because, well, they don't have any miles on them that year.
So, tire wise, what else would you like to replace this year? But we're not going to do it.
Engine 1, we don't have to. They won't be at 10 years until next year because they're dated, and they're actually dated 05. All the ones on engine 1. There's one steer tire on Rescue 6 that's older than probably 10 years. And then the rear ones on Rescue 6, I'm not sure how old those are. They have to be older than 2000 because they're not stamped. There's no date on them. So they're about 14 years old at this point.
So, other than tires, ladder testing, and we have Mysteris or however.
Mistras.
Mistral.
What, how do you say
Mistras.
Yeah.
it? Mistras?
Mistras. There you go.
Because I've had it pronounced to me several different ways. But they'll be coming in here. I haven't set an appointment. They called the other day, and we need to schedule that in here for ladder testing for this year. And the crews, one unit's already got their truck done. Units have been assigned, and then we do that hose testing with them. And for, hopefully we won't have to replace a bunch of fire hose. We haven't so far, but we'll just go from there. Voluntary. The updating of the voluntary memberships, we are at an all-time low as far as our volunteers. They just took 2 on the other night, but 17 volunteers within the department, and they're hard to come by.
By update, you mean make them tougher or make them less
Well,
tough?
they have always they have their own bylaws and such,
Okay.
and because they hit and miss meeting nights and things. They'll have a business meeting and maybe they'll have candidates, but there isn't a quorum here to conduct business. They have a rule that, and every year we turn away several volunteers because they live beyond a 2-mile radius outside the city and such. And we had a long chat a couple of weeks ago, and I'm gonna take the bull with the horns, and I told them they can rewrite their rules and catch up with us, but we're, as I said, an all-time low, and they can be beneficial, and they've been trying really hard. They have eliminated all the dead wood within the department, the people that didn't come to trainings and things. That's part of the reason why we are at an all-time low. But we're gonna change some of the standards and take some people on. There was a time we were putting a lot of Heath money into training, but the state is still funding firefighter classes. We get EMS monies that help pay for EMS training and such. So a lot of these candidates we can almost train for nothing. So anyway, change that and pick up some good quality people that really would like to be in here. I mean, there's always people. So anyway, unless there's objections to that, I mean, I think it'll be good for the department. But we've got to have it. Bob will tell you, you know, they're only as good as if they're here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that pretty much covers that. The training at Marathon, I mentioned that last time, and we're going to hopefully this Wednesday night. If it's like this, I don't think we're going to worry about it. But we need to get up. Is it supposed to be clear?
Supposed to be really nice and
Good.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Scheduling a walkthrough, and as I told you, we're going to be getting some that Utica shale crude in that could be volatile. So we need to familiarize ourselves with that area, and then lay some hose some night and do a little bit of water throwing from setup like we would in a real emergency situation. The firehouse software has been implemented since the first of the month. That's been coming for a long time. Fire as well as EMS, and the mayor has already terminated the contract with Zoll.
Sent a letter to terminate it. Well, it was a 30-day notice, right, on that. So next month it'll be terminated.
So, but at least that's in the works. Warren and Greg Coyle and Jamie Jones has done a real nice job getting that implemented along with Alpha Link. Fire levy campaign, just a question. Now that, and thank you for voting that in past tense, it's been a long time since we've had a campaign or whatever. We can't use taxpayer money to buy signs and things, but I'll be the first one to throw $100 in the hat, whatever. And I know in past tense, that's what we did. We still have some fire levy signs, and we can utilize some of the electronic stuff, I'm sure, around if we made.
Is there a fund that's been? See, we would have to start a new fund with a treasurer and all of that. Yeah.
You got any seed money left over from?
Not to my knowledge.
No, that's what I mean. Then that would be a fund that would already be. It would have had to have been continued to have been reported to the Board of Elections by somebody. So if there
It
isn't,
seemed to me the last time we did a levy, if I recall, Harold Moore, I think that money was donated to Mr. Liggett with the senior citizen organization. I mean, that's been a long time ago, because we made those levies permanent quite a few years ago.
To
and all.
spend money
It seemed
on-
like there was a little bit of change left at one time. Do you remember?
to spend money on signs or anything would require us to set up a campaign account with the Board of Elections.
Okay. So anyway, this is where.
Now that doesn't preclude anybody from going door to door, knocking on doors and introducing themselves and talking to people. But if you're going to have yard signs or
Pass out literature when you're going door to door.
something
Mhm.
that's printed out, that's you'd have to, the money would have to be spent through an account like that, which we would have to set one up.
I know purchased and still have fire vote yes to the fire levy fund or whatever.
But even to put them out, there's a disclaimer down on the bottom. It says where what that fund is and who the treasurer is and that person's address. You gotta have that on there, or else you can't put those signs out.
And I believe they do, but that
No,
would
it's
be.
gotta be current.
Yeah, I was gonna say they would be obsolete.
I mean, we could probably, I don't know how many signs you have, but I don't know, I mean, how many do you have? 100, 300, 500?
No, I would say 20 to 30.
Okay, so it's not even worth trying to fix those signs, just gonna get one, we could, but I would think you probably wanna have a
Just
bigger
wish we
campaign than
used
20
something.
signs.
Somebody that had a sign company. Gee,
All right,
So
fix you right up.
The question is, do we want to form correct?
I mean, do we roll the dice? And that's why I'm asking. Do we just roll the dice and not try to get some good media coverage and things. I mean, I've heard a couple of negative comments about the EMS billing, people that have supported us for years, and it's like, I got a bill over and above my insurance, and, you know, but there's still a lot of people out there that like us. So,
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. But
Brian, what do you suggest?
Oh, I mean, it would be nice to create a campaign and try to campaign that. I mean, if we don't campaign it, I don't think it's just gonna, it's not gonna be successful. I mean, we have to get the word out and explain to people what our needs really
Certainly
are.
it helped.
Yeah,
If we don't campaign, to me, it gives the image of trying to sneak one through.
no, and I think we'll write up something. I mean, we can truly show the need and where that money's gonna go as far as the purchase of specialized stuff and all, and stressing that it's only gonna go for equipment purchases and all that. And I mean, I think the public's already heard that, but I think we just keep.
Brian, you want me to talk to one or two people about being a treasurer or something like that?
yeah, I mean, we can talk about it and figure out, I mean, I don't mind, I'll do what I need to do.
Okay.
In less than 90 days. and you're right.
Yeah, I know, we don't have much time.
So anyway,
I mean, I'd say probably we got enough time for yard signs and maybe one literature piece that we, hand deliver.
Hand out.
Yeah.
but and this is where I don't have any experience as far as
Yeah.
running campaign. We actually can't use the signs that we printed up.
No.
They're not current.
Just put stickers, the
You'd have-
disclaimer at the bottom.
We'd have to put, yeah, we could use them, but just.
You have to put the
We'd have to
disclaimer
put a
on.
sticker over
Unless you have the same
whatever's on the
treasurer.
bottom.
You got a new treasurer, you got a new
Treasurer,
campaign.
yeah, it has to be that way.
You've never had a 5-year fire levy in this district of this town, have you? It's always been a continuing levy?
No, it always was a 5-year levy until it was made permanent.
Like the signs that you've got a 5-year levy, Mark?
We bought those a couple different times over the years. Yeah.
Point is, we have to modify the bottom of it.
Yeah. I mean,
It'll be
we
a
got the
small
framework as well as some
You
signs.
put,
Yeah.
Oh, it's in, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in
12 font, whatever, you know.
One of them little printouts.
You don't see it unless you're holding the sign in front of your face.
Somebody really wants to turn it in.
Brian, I'll talk to one or two people.
Bumper stickers
If
might
we're
work
gonna do
too.
this, we need
Bumper
more 20 or
stickers.
30 signs, people just need to see that, yes,
Absolutely.
over
I don't
and
know
over.
if-
We need to help the
I don't
city
know if
with
it-
signs and say, yes,
Well,
let's order 300 or
but-
400 signs.
You know what?
We need to raise some money, get some signs out.
That's right, and at the end much time.
I know it's not, but that's what I say, but 20
And that's
signs,
gonna-
20 signs, it's almost like, okay, they weren't
Yeah,
really
you're
excited
right.
about this, where are
I
they?
know.
They fly around you.
They're flying around
Yeah,
me.
a couple.
Much.
I've had one bugging me.
That's one view,
I started from Lowe's back in '98. And if you weren't rolling by Labor Day, you were
Yeah,
probably.
yeah,
but
The bumper sticker, anything
yeah,
promotes that has to have it.
yep.
I think I put 200
Even if
signs
a
out.
private
just-
Well, we can always use
Anything, like a pencil doesn't have to have that.
Yeah.
There's a few nicknames that
And
don't.
that's what we used to do. We had 911 stickers printed up and we'd knock on doors.
We used to use ones. that-
Brian will talk.
Yeah, and you know, I know myself and some other people will have wireframes, so we don't, it's not a lot of money when you start thinking about, we can bring our wireframes and you can use what I have left.
Yeah.
You know, we can share that kind of stuff, goes back and forth.
I'll give you all the wearing things I've got, if you don't give it back.
Oh, you want that?
I need to make a case.
You want them.
This isn't even on my agenda,
Know what to do with mine.
while I'm kicking that around and it's beneficial. If I've got money at the end of the year, if I've got money at the end of the year, why spend it? Yeah, I would love to put a sign similar to like we have out front here over on the corner of Station 2. Because, I mean, that's, as far as for campaign and everything, that would get rid,
Ah, I see what you
you
mean.
know what I'm saying? But something that would lit, identifies the station, but we could leave our messages. We hear so many great comments. Steve Gregory does our signs out here, and some of them are hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
And I know the LICO people, when they go by about every day, I get all kinds of comments and such.
Your traffic gonna be much higher on, much higher than here.
Yep, it is.
So anyway, under new business, cot demos, and then writing the Marks grant, we're still trying to decide exactly which direction we're gonna go. And what we're gonna ask for on that, but,
And you're coordinating with Chief Mason, right?
coordinate with Chief Mason.
As far as the Marks radios, I heard him ask Spellman for an inventory and,
Oh, okay, that Chief, I was thinking you were talking.
No.
Out of Hebron.
no,
We have talked about it a little bit, but it's kind of two different things there.
oh,
I mean, this is, we will, our paperwork will reflect that we are in a regional grant writing with all, there's, 3 fire departments that
Oh.
will not be counted, but yeah, we
Yeah.
in Granville and all that, and we'll have a much better
is that for
chance.
membership or licensing costs or whatever, is that what that
Right,
grant's for?
the monthly maintenance costs and such.
Yeah.
Plus, Spellman would like to, and he does my radio stuff, would like to go after some hardware too.
Okay.
And, you know, whatever we get would benefit the police department, I mean. So anyway, I'll keep you informed on that, and that's all I have. Anybody questions or? Like I said, Bob, if you'll give them the grand tour and point out some,
I can do that.
please.